This is Mike Franklin, the property tax guy, and today we're going to talk about some issues that we had with the city of Syracuse. Again, it's Mike Franklin, the property tax guy, thepropertytaxguy.com, and Assessor Out on YouTube. So what we have here is a notice of claim I just filed with the city of Syracuse. It's an ongoing issue I've had with the Board of Assessor Review and the chairman, Joseph Saya, chairman of the Board of Assessor Review for the city of Syracuse. Excuse me. And so we had two Board of Assessment Review hearings with the city of Syracuse, and one of which was basically a duplicate of a case that we'd had the previous year. It was literally kitty corner across the street from a property where I won a case last year with a welcome stranger verdict from the Small Claims Assessment Review hearing officer. Well, in the current year case, the Board of Assessment Review denied our claim and claimed that I was unprepared and that I was unqualified to represent the property. And so they normally, in their decisions, they usually just check a box that says insufficient information or something to that effect. But this time they had to write War and Peace and disparage me, and I'll show you what that looks like right now. Okay, so here's like I said, they usually just check a box, denied. But here we have this letter where they say Mr. Franklin was designated as in your application for grievance as an agent qualified to speak regarding the property. At the hearing, Mr. Franklin indicated that he had not performed an inspection of the property and demonstrated a complete unfamiliarity with the property, even as basic facts as to inventory or the date of purchase. The Board of Assessment Review has determined that Mr. Franklin is not sufficiently knowledgeable to speak regarding the property and therefore cannot currently qualify as a viable agent of the property owner as it pertains to the actual value of the property. Anyway, they go on and on. There's a second page, and so that was included and referenced in the notice of claim, signed by Joseph Saya, the chairman of the Board of Assessment Review. Well, it's Joseph Saya's job to make a determination, and if he doesn't believe that my argument was adequate to justify a reduction, well, then he shouldn't reduce it. And but he has to ramble on and on and on because apparently I hurt his feelings in the hearings, and so he disparaged me to my client. But also, this is a public document, so these public documents don't go away. They're available to the public essentially in perpetuity. And so he libeled me as being unqualified, and he tortuously interfered with my clients by sending this libel to my clients, suggesting that I'm unqualified to represent my clients. And well, number one, it's unprofessional, and number two, it's libelous. And I just don't know who this guy thinks he is. So that's the purpose of my notice of claim. And this is it. You could read it later if you wish. The basis of the claim: typically the State of Syracuse Board of Assessment Review rendered denial decisions where they check a box that says supporting data was insufficient. They typically provide no explanation for their determinations. In this case, Joseph Saya wrote a 2-page small print decision addendum disparaging claimant's representation of client in public document. They normally don't provide addendums, but for me, they made a special exception. Disparaging claimant to the client and to the public. Chairman of the Board of Assessment Review, Joseph Saya, reviewed review alleged claimant demonstrated a complete unfamiliarity with the property, even as basic facts as the inventory or date of purchase. He stated, Board of Assessor Review has determined that Mr. Franklin is not sufficiently knowledgeable to speak regarding the property and therefore cannot currently qualify as a viable agent for the property owner as it pertains to the actual value of the property. Well, that's kind of curious because further down, you will see the decision of the SCAR hearing officer. So I appealed so we were denied at the Board of Assessment Review, and I appealed to the Small Claims Assessment Review, where I was granted a reduction. The assessor admitted that the deed transfer triggered the investigation. Therefore, welcome to the neighborhood could reasonably be perceived. The home does appear to be a little unique on that street, but not totally out of character for the area. I'm not certain how that's relevant. A reasonable adjustment for inflation in that area would be appropriate, and as suggested by the plaintiff representee, an increase to $86,000 would be more correct. Well, actually, the fair market value was increased through the equalization change, and so the equalization change, represents market increases. So technically, it should have been left at 80,000, but I think my client is happy with 86, and I think under the circumstances, it's not unreasonable. So the hearing officers like to, split the baby to a certain extent to appease both parties. That's kind of what goes on. But we prevailed. We prevailed in the case where the Board of Assessment Review hearing officer, or the Board of Assessment Review chairman said that I was unqualified to represent the property. So that's just kind of curious that I'm not qualified to represent the property, and yet I won the case. So a notice of claim goes on to seek the following. Request a symbolic $1,791 be paid by the City of Syracuse to the nonprofit New York State Coalition for Open Government. The 1791 represents it represents the constitutional amendments, First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, and we're not allowed to record the SCAR hearings for some reason, which to me is a violation of the First Amendment. There's no justification for not allowing SCAR hearings to be recorded. There's nothing more public than assessment matters, and not allowing them to be recorded is simply self-dealing by the court because they're trying to make their jobs as easy as possible. But the public needs to know what goes on in these hearings. What's nice is if the City of Syracuse does record their bar hearings, and they're on YouTube, and so that's very nice. So we can see what happened at that hearing. So that hearing was, I believe, January 7th. No, this one was on the 14th. So it's on my YouTube channel, Assessor Audit, and the public can watch that hearing and see if I was unprepared or unqualified to represent this property. And so I think it's pretty apparent I was qualified to represent the property because I won. So what else do we have here? So let me go on with what it is that I'm requesting. Request the city assessor's office provide assessment reports at their counter on demand, no matter who requests them, and a letter written to substantiate that will be the policy moving forward. The day of the hearing, I requested a cost report for one of the properties because they had not provided it in my FOIL request, and they wanted to know what my name was, and so I told them. But the thing is, with the Freedom of Information Law, they can be done anonymously. And so, who you are should not dictate whether or not you get the data. And they routinely provide this data to other taxpayers, but for some reason they don't want to provide it to me, and that's a FOIL violation. And so that's why I bring that up. That will be part of the lawsuit if it becomes necessary and they don't want to settle this matter. Reports available will be, but not limited to, the comparable sales report, comparable assessment report, cost valuation report, subject property inventory summary report, sales analysis report, land tables, and cost tables. Those are reports that I typically request when I'm representing a taxpayer in bar and SCAR. Request all costs of litigation be paid by the city of Syracuse. Request the disparaging bar decision addendums be removed from the public record. Request a written apology that is acceptable to Michael Franklin to be made a part of the public record. Request policy of Board of Assessor Review be modified to require Board of Assessor Review determinations stick to value adjustments and refrain from personal attacks in public documents. Request Assessor's Office review receive FOIL training. Request Board of Assessor Review receive open meetings law training. And then there's the verification notarized, and that was served upon Joseph Saya and the mayor of the city of Syracuse. So this is their disparaging comments. This is the SCAR hearing officer's decision in my favor. And down here is some nonsense that one of their young attorneys wrote up. He was talking about the wrong property. He's rambling on about all this nonsense that has nothing to do with anything. And he's talking about the wrong property. Like he's saying that we didn't bring up selective assessment in the bar hearing, so we can't argue it at SCAR. Well, that pertains to Article 7's, not to SCAR. SCAR cases are de novo. The guy that has no clue what he's talking about. His name is Trevor McDaniel. Has no clue what he's talking about. And but in any case, he's talking about the wrong property. He's got 2 pages of fine print rambling on about the wrong property. This guy's hilarious. So that's my notice of claim. It's unbelievably unprofessional behavior by the chairman of the Board of Assessment Review. The whole Board of Assessment Review, to me, is kind of a joke. At least 3 of the 5 people on the Board of Assessment Review have no valuation experience. The chairman, I'm starting to wonder about his valuation expertise, because he just doesn't seem to have a clue of what's going on here. He, they don't seem to have any experience with valuation, and they either don't know the law or they just simply ignore the law. But it was just kind of a bad combination when you're the Board of Assessment Review. I will also say they are not very diverse. Many of my clients are not white, and they're not Catholic. And when Joseph Saya wants everybody to swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help them God, they wonder if they can get a fair hearing from a guy who is that Catholic. And it appears everybody on the board is pretty white and pretty Catholic. In a city that's more than 50% non-white, we have a completely white Board of Assessment Review, a completely white assessor's office, and I've only seen white people in the legal department. So it's I think it's a time for a change at the Board of Assessment Review. I would like to see the Common Council, reflect upon who they're choosing. They chose Carl Masterpool. He's an insurance agent. Insurance agents have no expertise in real estate valuation. The only reason he's on the Board of Assessment Review is because his brother was the city auditor. So it's all cronyism. So I would like to see some diversity on that panel so people could feel they're getting a fair hearing. And I'd like to see somebody who actually has some experience in valuation. And it would be nice to have someone on there that actually knows something about the law or is willing to follow the law. He's saying that I didn't visit the interior of people's houses. I will never go into my clients' houses. The assessor can't go into people's houses. I'm not going in. I'm not going to invade people's privacy, and neither is the government. At least so far. This is America, for God's sake, and so there's no need to be going in anybody's house for the convenience of the assessor. It's ridiculous. This is Mike Franklin, the property tax guy. ThePropertyTaxGuy.com and Assessor Audit on YouTube.